Welcome to Success in Motion. Join us as we dive deep with top leaders, entrepreneurs, and professionals, uncovering strategies to grow, scale, and succeed.
All right, good morning, listeners. We'd like to welcome you back to the Success in Motion podcast. Today, we have a very special guest on with us. He is Ron Gustaveson. He's a personal friend of mine and a good mentor. So, Ron, go ahead and give us a little bit of your history. Catch us up with who you are and what you've done.
So to start off with, I started as a very, let's say, challenged individual when it came to financials. My family didn't come from any kind of means or wealth or anything. So what I had an opportunity is looking at my friends' lives and how their family would live. And so my best friends were all very successful people, with their families were very successful. And so I always looked at them and aspired to be like them and to wanted to change my direction. And in doing so, I was not a good student. I was a very poor student. I did not like school, but I had a disadvantage, I guess, in school that actually turned into an advantage in life, and I'm dyslexic. So schooling didn't go very well for me in the beginning, but then after I went to college and got my degree, that dyslexia helped me immensely in my creativity and in my business life. So I started off into the sales side and my career and worked through sales and in the technology and the telephony industry, and was responsible for carrying the quota, responsible for the net, responsible for bringing the revenue. I was the revenue generator for several companies. One of those companies I had been with for 10 plus years, and they had decided, based off my success, to change my contract at the end of the year when was time for them to write the check. Got into a long lawsuit with them. Ended up settling that lawsuit and decided, hey, you know what? This isn't always the great thing is working for somebody else. Maybe you ought to think about working for yourself. So I started up I started several businesses. So I am a compulsive entrepreneur, and I have failed a ton. I have failed so many times. So the first attempt to go out on my own was on a real estate brokerage, and we did very well until the market crashed in 2007. And then I stepped aside and let my partner have the business because at that point in time, it just could not feed both families. So I went back into the tech and back into sales, working for somebody else again. And in doing so, I started two other little side hustles. And I said, whatever side hustle takes off first is the side hustle I will focus on. One of the challenges I had in starting these side hustles is the focus. Not along with the dyslexia, maybe a little bit of ADD as well. It's like, opportunity, because there are so many opportunities, and it's important to focus and target on that one opportunity. So I had invested some money on two different paths, and my wife's like, oh, please just focus on one, please. So this one got a lot of money. This one got very little money, and this one took off like a rocket. So this one went to the side, and all my focus went on this side, and ended up being a great success for myself and for my family, and built that up and ran that for, I want to say, I think I ran it for 7 or 10 years, and then ended up selling it to a private equity firm, which was a huge mistake, but that could be a whole other podcast, working with private equity. And then decided to retire, financially independent, retire early, as a lot of people know as FIRE. And that's a great way to strive, and did that before I was 50, and that was the objective. I had talked to some people and had done similar things that I had done. And a lot of them have said, hey, Ron, what they say is you retire, you expire. So maybe it's time that I do something else. So that's a little bit of the history and how I got to where I'm at today.
Absolutely. So a couple questions I have is, I think a lot of listeners can definitely relate that you're trying all sorts of stuff. It doesn't work out. Where did you kind of find your motivation for each of your new ventures, or what kind of kept you going down that path?
So the motivation was never a problem, and the ideas are never a problem. I actually have a book full of business ideas that I could execute on and move forward on. It's focusing on the right one at the right time. But say the question again, because you said something else I wanted to respond to.
It was just, how did you take all those different failures and kind of find the motivation to keep going and looking for the different ideas?
Right. So I have my own little philosophy, and I have a word. It's my favorite 4-letter word that I use all the time. My favorite 4-letter word is next. So I've always had the ability, because of the long sales careers, if you're knocking the doors and you're getting no's, you have to get X amount of no's before you can get a yes. It's just the numbers, and that's the way it works. So for me, the motivation has always been there, and I know that I'm going to get a lot of no's and a lot of failure before you're going to get the yes and the success. So it's the word next.
Going for the next.
Mm-hmm.
And you'd mentioned how it's really important to try to learn to do the right opportunity at the right time.
Mm-hmm.
With your idea of books, how do you focus on the right opportunity, or what kind of makes that the right opportunity stand out?
Yeah, so like today, I'm looking at an opportunity that is going to be recession proof, and that has a constant flow of income, and also will not be based in the USA. So and that's for my needs and what I'm looking for. Everybody else has their own little scenario. Obviously, recession proof, things aren't ideal in the economy today. Some people might think they are. I don't believe that they are. I think we have some very hard times ahead of us. I think small business is being challenged quite often by regulation, which makes it difficult to run a business, by labor and the litigious side of labor and the cost of labor. There's some big, huge challenges. And so, you have to look at those opportunities and say, okay, how does it play right now? Does it work right now? Will it have success right now? Because it's all about timing, I think. Yeah.
Good. That's definitely right. You got to make sure you have the right idea at the right time.
Mm-hmm.
So you mentioned you're starting up a new thing. Tell us a little bit about what you're starting up.
So in the past, when I built my last company, I had some challenges, as I just recently mentioned, when it came to labor. I had probably a total of 70 employees. I think I had about 35, 40 FTEs and the other part-timers, and a bunch of, on top of that would be a bunch of 1099s as well. And I had a lot of challenges when it came to labor and customer service and getting the consistent labor and the people to show up, to be happy and to dedicate themselves to their roles and their positions. And I also had some challenges when it came to the sales side and people's willingness to learn, to show up, to be held accountable for their numbers. So in a trade show at one of my events, I had met and walked up for the trade show, said, hey, I want to make sure those and had a little bite to eat, and I thought I was going to work for my company. I go, you've got a lot more potential than what you realize, so I'd really like to bring you on my team. So I brought her on my team, and she worked for me for 14 years. In doing so, I built a great network of employees outside of the country, in another country, in the Dominican Republic. So part of my success were the people that were helping me at our company, working for me at that company, that were out of the DR. And um, because they were so good, I know other small businesses need the same type of quality labor. I'm not trying to poke fun at the United States and labor here in America, but when you have the cost of labor, it's just nothing like this, and the economy is like this. I mean, there's got to be a balance. And some people you just have to have in the USA, but sometimes you need to go out elsewhere and outside the USA, and especially on small businesses trying to compete with these bigger guys that have a ton of debt and endless checkbooks. And so I've started up what's called a business process outsourcing company, and we did a little early launch on that, but that really start launching in February. The lady that is going to be my partner in this is out on maternity leave right now, and we'll be doing anything on inbound remote work, which would be telesales, outbound, inbound customer service, data entry, anything that can be done remotely.
So for the people listening, and again, there's a lot of competition in, again, finding a virtual assistant. There's a lot of, everyone's talking about it right now. It's one of the big things. So what are you trying to do that will set yourself apart? What will set apart your business?
The virtual assistants, there's a lot of challenges internationally. I mean, there's so many platforms out there. There's like the Upholds, there's the Fivers that you can go out and hire somebody on a task basis, and you can get labor for really cheap, really affordable. You can go all kinds of countries out in Asia, and the Philippines, which is probably the primary location. You got India and all these locations. The challenge is, in my opinion, as a business owner that I experienced, is I need to have people that understand the U.S. culture. They are in a similar time zone. Here in Florida, we're in the same time zone as they are when it's daylight savings time. Right now, they're an hour ahead, but that still works and functions for them, right? They've got great accents, so your customers aren't experiencing this thick accent where they can't understand him, and then people get upset and mad that they're having to talk to these people that don't understand. So they've got great accents. And next, they're educated. They're college educated. They're excited to come to work. They got smiles on their faces. And when you smile and dial, you can hear it. When you're talking on the phone, you can have a smile on your face. And if you're not, the client can hear it. So this is what I get from the people that I hire out of the DR.
That's awesome. It's good to have that good attitudes and
yeah,
people who know how to work with you.
Yeah.
So overall, with both what you've done in the past as well as what you're doing now, what is something that you would say is something you have found really easy? What comes easier to you than maybe would come to other people?
The ideas come really easy to me. I can see the vision, and I can come up with the ideas. Super simple to me. And I can look at other companies and see the issues, the problems they're having, and I can come up with solutions. It's really quite easy to me. And I think that's kind of the dyslexia side, using the other side of my brain. So I'm really creative. So that's really easy for me. So
yeah, that's awesome. Honestly, I didn't even know you were dyslexic, and that's great that you've taken what some would consider a disadvantage and turn that into such an advantage for yourself. That's incredible.
Yeah, if you do any research at all on it and you look at any of the large entrepreneurs, you're going to see a lot of these guys are dyslexic.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So overall, what's some of the biggest challenges that you've had to overcome throughout your career?
So I have hoed my own road. I've never had a mentor or anybody help facilitate, coach, or direct me, or anybody I could bounce ideas off of. And that is, a PhD. Poor, hungry, and determined is what it is. So, you get to step in a lot of landmines. And those landmines could just be, simple use cases of how to do XYZ, how to handle operations in this sense, what technologies to use, what legal fights to deal with or not deal with. But those have all been very, very costly lessons. An example of that would be a lawsuit when it comes to patents. So I have lots of patents. And because of my creativity, I thought it was important to take these ideas and patent these ideas and to protect these ideas. Sadly, I don't want to sound like a Debbie Downer, but patents aren't worth a popcorn fart. They just aren't. These attorneys have no incentive at all to make a patent that is going to stand up in court. And their objective is to get you to spend money in the future. So there's nothing they really can do either, just because how litigious society is, but they surely benefit from it. They write the patents, they're supposed to protect the individual with the patent, and then you find yourself in court. And you can spend, this type of court case is the most expensive law that you'll ever get into. You'll spend, I spent on one case, $1 million just to get to discovery. To ultimately just kill the case, because I had so many other infringers that I would have gone bankrupt to try to protect. And it's been created this way by the legal side and the insurance side. You know, these corporations have these insurance policies that protect them in case they infringe, and then the insurance companies have to cover the costs. So they have their in-house counsels fighting the cases, and they can spend all kinds of money, and all that it will do is really cause some damage. So if you have an idea, I would not suggest a patent. If you want to do a provisional to kind of give you a sense of protection, first to market, first to win, make your success as fast as you can, and then just know they're going to copy it and get out. So
More get in, get it done, get out.
Get out. Next.
Now, another question I would love for you to talk about is one of the big kind of hot words going around right now is that passive income, or how do you create a passive income that can even replace active income? And for the listeners, Ron, you're actually one of the first people who really introduced me to this idea and really got me going and getting excited about it. So please share some of your thoughts about creating this passive income.
Yeah, so I've always been in real estate, even since I was a W-2 with somebody else. I had my real estate's license so I could do the work and understand it for myself. I think that's important for anybody to do. There are some challenges today, but I still think it's important for somebody to do. To learn when it comes to real estate, because for me, that's one of the easiest ways to do passive income, and the easiest ways for anybody to do passive income is to focus on real estate, and that could be long-term, short-term rentals, etc. So I have a good portfolio of real estate that I own, and I manage all my own properties. I manage them through a technology portal that does a great job for me, and it's lemonade money. You walk out in your slippers and your robe, and you go and pick up your checks, and they're always there month to month. So that it's very important, because you can't win this rat race game like Robert Kiyosaki would talk about unless you've got this passive income, and that can come from a real estate portfolio, that can be from a business, etc. If you're trying to decide where to focus your resources today and where you should put your effort, the number one place you should put your money and focus on is you. There's your first success. There's your best ROI, return on investment, is yourself and your business ideas. Get that done, get that executed, and get that working for you. Now, I can talk more about that in the sense where that could be, okay, you work for yourself, great, but is that truly a business? Well, you should go in any business thinking about the exit. There has to be an exit for it to be a business. If you have a business that you get to create your own schedule, okay, that's great. Then that's better than a W-2. But if it's not making money while you're away, and you can't walk away and go on vacation, and it doesn't make any money, then you really don't have a business. You're self-employed. So you've got the W-2 you don't want to stay in. You don't want to be self-employed for too long. You got to create the business. The business is going to create that cash flow for you, that income stream, and then take that revenue there and then roll that back into what other opportunities you want to do, other businesses or real estate portfolio, etc. And I chose the real estate portfolio for myself.
Love it. thanks again for sharing those again.
Mm-hmm.
So, Ron, I want to thank you for your time and your insights with us today on all the tips and tricks. If someone would like to connect with you and learn a little bit more about you, what should they do or where should they go?
That's a great question. I'm not very present when it comes to, you can hit me up on LinkedIn, just search on Ron Gustaveson, or you can message me on Facebook. Look, anybody that has a question or needs help, anybody that has a question, I'm more than happy to give people my opinion. But that's just all it is an opinion, right? I can tell you the landmines and what I've stepped in. If it's helpful, it's helpful. It's not, right? I would just wish I had that opportunity as well. So you could reach out to me at Ron Gustaveson on Facebook, or you can, or on LinkedIn. I'm not that active on LinkedIn, but I'll see a message coming to check it. So,
Absolutely. And personally, that advice has been very helpful for me. So I encourage everyone to go and connect with Ron. And again, thank you so much for your time. And we will talk with you all on the next episode.
Thanks for tuning into Success in Motion. Want to share your story? Visit successinmotionpodcast.com/guest to apply and be featured on the show.